Okay, welcome back to the United Pubcast, the podcast of the official Man United Supporters Club here in Sydney, and it has been a good Thursday, Larry. Champions League nights or Champions League mornings, however you want to call them in Australia. Obviously, an early wake up for us, but I just want to start with one of the most historic stats I've ever seen. Considering we got knocked out against Young Boys on match day 1, it's amazing that we're top of the group in match day 3.
It is phenomenal. You know what, Tom? I do have a statistic for you. That is the first time since the Champions League inception that Manchester United has been 2-0 down at home at Old Trafford.
Mate, there are records every single game now that Ronaldo plays. One, he beats his own appearance record, but then he beats his own goal scored record, and it was his 300th appearance for Man United. So records all around, but there is plenty to discuss. Just a few guys in the chats. Good evening. Rob, hope you're well. Evening, lads. Massive win. Heart still recovering. Yeah, it was one of those typical games that is a little bit testing on the heart. And also, George woke up and drowning myself in the Ronaldo perfume. He sent us a video of that. Very funny. I dare you to put that public on Instagram or Twitter, George. That was a good one. But we'll get into it. And look, it's a far better discussion than after the Leicester match. And it was likely a far better discussion than what it was likely going to be at halftime. 2-0 down, unbelievable sort of reaction that sort of caused, and we'll get into that and the sort of the differences between the first and second half. But I just want to start this one off. The Leicester podcast we did after that, it was a turning point for both of us. We sort of said, okay, that's what we're seeing from Solskjaer. That's enough. And look, that opinion definitely doesn't change, which we'll get into. But we're both sort of level-headed in that podcast, where this one, after a good win, I'm actually more passionate in my defense of Solskjaer after this one, because the reaction I feel has been shocking towards Solskjaer after this. I think just people are just completely forgetting what it is. And you shared a video, I think Sam Homewood posted it. You shared a video at full time when Solskjaer was walking off, which I want to touch on. But the main reason I'm so defending of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer today and sort of so passionate in my defense of him is obviously away from Man United, Newcastle United, and Steve Bruce was obviously sacked. And he's come out and he's done his not post-match interview, but sort of he did an interview after getting sacked, talking about his mental health and how much he struggled with it, and his sort of some of the stuff he was called. You saw how the Newcastle atmosphere at St James's Park turned toxic against Tottenham, but he's also on record saying that he was he was happy or not happy, but he's glad that his father and mother had passed away, so they didn't see the abuse that he was receiving. So little things like that, and that's because of the way the Newcastle fans treated him. Man United fan or supposed fans are treating Solskjaer in that same way. And I just think it's absolutely shocking. We won this match in a dramatic fashion, and all you see on Twitter was, oh yeah, please, but he still needs to be sacked. Well, yeah, you can have that opinion, but if you're not enjoying this moment, that is what cast your mind back to when we signed Ronaldo. We signed Ronaldo, and the reason we're so happy was for moments like this, for last-minute winners in front of the Stretford, and you have to enjoy that. You can't go, oh, good goal, but yeah, still sack him. Okay, that's your opinion, and that's fine. But you have to enjoy it. And I was over the moon, but the reaction after the match was flat for me, and I can't get my head around it, Larry.
I think that just comes with a range of factors, Tom. I agree with all your sentiments, and that comes with social media, that comes with large platforms and the negative language that they spread. There are a number of reasons why, and it all becomes because society as a whole is not patient, and it seems to be the fashionable thing now to out in person, to be insulting, to be derogatory, and point derogatory terms towards someone. The most disrespectful thing, forget Newcastle, I even find it worse as a United fan. Do people not forget what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer achieved as a player? And it doesn't matter whether you think he is a PE teacher or whether you think he's the best thing since Sir Alex Ferguson. You have to respect the legacy that precedes him. And the reality is, he's done a good job. You might argue what a good job is. Your assessment of United or expectation might be that they should be challenging for titles every season, and I don't disagree with you on that. You might think that we should be winning the Champions League or the Premier League every season without a fight, without any sort of level-headed discussion. But in any case, show respect to the manager. What I loved about that video, Tom, and the reason I shared it, it made me feel so emotionally overwhelmed with almost a sense of sadness. I felt like I was defending a close friend of mine who has been bullied and ridiculed. Now, obviously, that's a really extreme example that I'm providing there. But we have to remember, he's one of our own. Any success that you want for Manchester United, believe me, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants it just as much.
Yeah, no, completely agree. And we will get in there, very well said, and we will get into sort of the everything that unfolded. It was so dramatic. I think we could do this podcast over 3 hours. There's so much to dissect. But just a couple of comments. George, good to see you, mate. Jordan as well. Evening, gents. I think the booze kicked them into gear, which was a part of the story, and I'm sure we'll discuss that, the difference between the first half and second half, and the sort of the role the crowd did play. George also saying, I really hate how Ollie's been abused for celebrating the same way everyone else did when the winner went in. It's like the Ollie out brigade won't even let him enjoy the amazing moment. Completely agree. Adam saying, good to see you, mate, saying the same thing. And one thing is sure these players are playing for him, which we sort of put in the title of the podcast. I think a bit of the narrative going into this match was, has he lost the dressing room? It's a nonsense question now. We have the answer. There's no way he's lost the dressing room. These players are fighting for him, Larry.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think that was ever a debate. I think the Pogba comments have been taken out of context, and that was really the only instance where you could argue a player was challenging Solskjaer. But Pogba does what Pogba does. He's very honest, but ultimately, yeah. And even the first half, as frustrating as the scoreline reflected, I don't think United were dreadful. I really don't. We created opportunities in our group chat. Thank God for Antonio. It felt like I was a one-man band in there. But you had we're a fairly sensible group chat, I like to think. You had a split there where you have some saying, this is unacceptable. But actually, look at the opportunities we created in the first half. Rashford could have easily had a double. Ronaldo could have had a goal. We could have been 3-0 up. Now the defensive errors, of course, they are poor. Particularly the second goal, the set piece was awful. But United were playing well. I think the difference between the first half and the second half is the level of intensity did go up, but United took their opportunities. I think that's the reality of it. Football is not as simple as, it's not as so black and white. We weren't garbage in the first half and brilliant in the second half. I think United were solid in the first half, had defensive lapses, but in the second half, we took our opportunities.
That's the thing. I was going to start when you mentioned Paul Pogba. I was going to go into team selection, and obviously he was dropped and McFred sort of returned. But you mentioned halftime and sort of their reaction. I'm in that same group chat, and I saw all you guys typing away at halftime. And I was about to type something. I said, no, I don't want to give my opinion, because my opinion was so completely opposite, as you also sort of referred to. I was going to put in there that I thought we're actually pretty good in the first half. The 2 times Atalanta went forward, they scored. That's down to execution. If Harry Maguire gets his head on, or McTominay gets his head on it, or Luke Shaw stops the cross, and we score 5 goals at the other end, which on another day we do, and the execution is better, I'm thinking, well, that first time, and I'm not saying it was good, but it's the best we've played in weeks. And okay, the standard hasn't been high in recent weeks, but look, I completely share and agree and accept the frustration. We're 2-0 down at home to Atalanta in a must-win game. I fully appreciated how frustrated everyone was. But I think on the balance of play that first half, and obviously over the 90 minutes, of course, we definitely deserve to win. But the first half, obviously you can't take away the goals. It's a huge part of the game. It's why we play. But if you do take away the goals, I thought we're by far the better team. I know Atalanta are missing a few players, but I think they got a result against Liverpool last year, or they've made quarterfinals of the Champions Leagues in recent seasons, so they're no mugs. And just go back to Pogba on that, in terms of, me and Josh were talking about on the last podcast, saying I had a feeling he'd be dropped. Obviously, was dropped. Big game. Solskjaer reverts back to McFred type thing. So just your thoughts an hour before kickoff. Well, we're all up an hour before kickoff. Not sure why. I had my alarm set for 5:55 and I was up at 4:55. So I saw the team news come through. And as always, plenty of debate sparked.
This is the one occasion I agreed with it. I did agree with it. And I thought, to be honest, McTominay was solid. I thought Fred was really good. And I think when we come to the 3-2-1s, you could argue for Fred. He has his limitations, and today doesn't detract from that. But I thought you see the difference with what Fred offers in midfield, whether you like him or not, as a whole package of what he brings as a footballer. You see the difference in what he offers compared to a Pogba in that position. That's just the reality of it. And when United are in the position that they are at the moment, where you're struggling for a bit of confidence, you're having inconsistent form, you need to rely on a solid foundation. Now, yes, the cynics will say, but we conceded 2 goals. We did, but those 2 goals weren't because of McTominay and Fred.
Yeah, no, it's hard. Well, it's one of those things. I agree that this is maybe the game to bring them back in, but then you say we're 2-0 down. And I wouldn't say the game changed with Paul Pogba. I don't think there was a real tactical change, but you see when Paul Pogba comes on, we look better. So you think, well, it doesn't quite make sense. But yeah, I completely agree. Damon here saying I'm probably more Ollie in, more because of the lack of external options, which we've completely agreed. I think if the right managers are out there, we say get rid of him tomorrow. But at the moment, without that ideal candidate out there. And look, there might never be an ideal candidate, but that is one of the reasons that both Larry and I are a little bit hesitant to pull the trigger. And Adam's saying didn't have a problem with the lineup. And yeah, I think it's one. Football's going to spark opinions in terms of some people are going to be happy with it, some people aren't. But ultimately, Solskjaer does get it right. But I want to tell you to halftime, and obviously there was frustration. I was in our group chat and Twitter. You can only imagine what it was like on there. At 2-0 down, I didn't put in the group chat because I didn't want to spark anything. But I said we're winning this 3-2. I was very confident of coming back and winning 3-2. Now, obviously, De Gea makes a couple of good saves in the second half, which could have changed things. But did you share that confidence? And if so, why do you think? Because I think a lot of United fans did have that confidence would come back into it. And do you think it's just a stature thing? Okay, we're Man United against Atalanta, or do you think we're playing well, or it's just good plays, or do you think it's something like Ronaldo has this aura where he puts teams on the back foot and they're sort of worried? Did you share that confidence that we're going to get back into the game, or did you think, geez, hang on, this is getting bad and this is almost writing on the wall for Ollie?
I actually did share that confidence, and I come back to what I mentioned a moment ago. United were playing well, and I agree with what you said. I thought over that 45-minute period, that being the first half, United were the better side. I thought we had the better in terms of opportunities. I thought we were more control of the game than Atalanta were. So all in all, in the balance of play, I thought United were playing well. On a different day, where let's say if Rashford was 5 games into his return rather than 2, I think he puts one of those opportunities away. On another day, Cristiano Ronaldo would bury the opportunity that he shot straight at the goalkeeper. There are so many instances where United were the more attacking side. Bloody hell, Fred, wonderful opportunity. Could have scored. We were creating our equal share of opportunities, and the balance of probability will tell you the more chances you have, the more likely you are to score. Atalanta are not the sort of football side to shut up shop. Now, they probably should have, because if they did, I think we'd be having a different feeling at halftime. But you just felt with the balance of the game that United were always in a position to come back, and thankfully we did.
The second half, I want to get into, or I don't want to get into tactics, but this word tactics will obviously pop up. Why was the second half better? Because a lot of people, whenever United were 2-0 down, the thing pointed at Solskjaer, oh, he's got no tactics. The tactics are wrong. That's why we're 2-0 down. For me, nothing changed in the second half, tactically, in terms of approach, in terms of someone triggering a press, or where we're trying to get overloads, or how we're dealing with Atalanta's numbers. In my opinion, nothing changed. We just played better. We played with a little bit more intensity, obviously, but the passes were sticking. I think there was a little bit more intent in our play. And why do you think the second half was better? Did Atalanta maybe drop off a little bit and give us a bit more space, or did you see a tactical difference or a different change in approach, or just why was the second half that much better?
Nothing tactical. I thought overall, if you want to talk about how United approached the football match, I thought we did hold our width a lot better than what we have previously. I thought Rashford particularly looked really dangerous every time he got the ball. But no, I agree with you. I think the second half, it was really just intent, Tom. United know they have to win. Atalanta are in that awkward 2-0 spot where, yeah, on paper or as a cynic, you might be thinking, actually, that's quite a comfortable lead. But when you're away from home, you're the underdog and you know what the opposition have against you. 2-0 isn't all that comfortable. You know, if you concede first, you're feeling nervy about your 1-goal lead, and you know that you probably need another, but you're thinking, do we go for it, given that United are going to go for it? So I think they just got a little bit in their own heads. But all in all, I thought United just came out with more intensity. The boos you alluded to earlier, I think there was definitely a frustration at Old Trafford, particularly in that first half. I think, was it Shaw, where a forward pass was on, but he opted to pass back? You felt the frustration in the stadium, but Ollie clearly got at them. And you know what? Credit to Ollie. What he came out post-match. He said in the post-match, he just said to the team, if you keep to your guns, you will win this football match. And that's all they did.
I think on Solskjaer, in terms, I was listening to Stephen Howson after the match, and he's having a discussion about what this narrative has been in the past couple of weeks in terms of Moments FC and Solskjaer relying on individual brilliance, etc. So we praise these players on individual brilliance and say it has nothing to do with Solskjaer. But then if we concede a goal, it's not the individual mistake that anyone blames, that we blame Solskjaer for the individual mistake. I'm thinking, well, you can, if the individual moment is completely sort of a valid opinion, okay, that's 100% fine, but it has to apply to both attack and defense. It has to apply to both sides of the coin. And at the moment, we're only using it when Ronaldo puts it in, or when Bruno puts it in the top corner. We don't blame it when Harry Maguire doesn't get a header, or Victor Lindelof, if he got spun for that potentially third goal for Atalanta. we wouldn't be blaming Victor Lindelof. We'd be blaming the tactics. I'm not blaming Lindelof, but we'll be blaming the tactics by Solskjaer. So,
let me put
thoughts
this
on
to
that?
you, Tom. Let me put this to you. What did you think of Solskjaer's substitutions today?
Yeah, he got it. Look, it's one of those ones at halftime. We always make this point in regards. So I always make it about Bruno Fernandes, and I'm sure some people will have the discussion about Ronaldo. And I thought Ronaldo was good at halftime. I was saying get Bruno Fernandes off the field. I was even saying Jesse Lingard. I saw Jesse Lingard having a word with Solskjaer, and I thought maybe he could see because Bruno Fernandes was getting the ball in very good areas around halfway, not in a dangerous area, but he was getting a lot of space around halfway where Jesse Lingard moves very well with the ball. So I was thinking Bruno Fernandes to come off, but then obviously, he changes the game with a killer pass. But the substitutions, bang on. I thought they were proactive. I thought he didn't wait for Atalanta. I thought it was on Solskjaer's terms. And ultimately, they changed the game. I thought they were the right substitutions at the right time. And that is where he needs sort of complete praise because he gets it big time when it doesn't happen. But just on Bruno, and we'll get into 3-2-1s in 2 or 3 minutes. Talk to me. I'm stuck. Was he our best player or was he our worst player? Because I don't know. He was somewhere in between for me because I wanted to kill him, but then ultimately he got the official man of the match.
That's Bruno for you. He's given a license to create. And when we're losing games, he's your worst player. But when we're winning games and he's getting assists like he does today, then he's your best player. I thought he was frustrating in the first half, particularly. There was one opportunity where you saw a clear through ball onto Rashford and he's on goal and the defender nips it and things like that. But what I did like about Bruno's performance today, Tom, he wasn't up Ronaldo's ass. He actually played as a number 10 today.
Yeah, I thought he defended, in a much better shape.
100%. And his pass selection was good. Just at times the execution wasn't quite there. But, man, he's brilliant. That pass to Rashford to set up the first goal, he makes it look easy. Mate, that's world class what he did. Just to have the ability to see it before the ball's at his feet and to be able to deliver the ball at pace. Because if that ball gets to Rashford any later, I'd say a defender catches him. And it's a composed finish, but that's what Bruno does. He produces creativity and he creates opportunities. Now, sometimes he'll be frustrating and he'll make you pull your hair out. But when it comes off like it did today, he's brilliant. He was good. He was really good. I don't know if we win the game if he's not on the pitch. Yeah,
well, we'll get into 3-2-1s in a sec. Just some comments, then we'll get into it. But Ahmad, in terms of that second half reaction, pulling their finger out might have helped. And that's where which I completely agree, but that comes down to the individuals and their responsibility. Solskjaer can say whatever. He can give the perfect instruction or a woeful instruction. It's up to the players to go and sort of deliver. Ashby saying the chances in the second half hit the net. Yeah, completely agree. A bit unfortunate to be down at halftime where the chances were created. But as you said, that's football, 100%. Adam saying one thing I did enjoy out of the game was Rashford coming inside to get him behind Ronaldo and moving out of the wing. And just on that, because I agree with that point from Adam, Rashford linked up quite well with Ronaldo, but I think it's such a stark difference. And it's only, we have a very small sample size at the moment. What do we got? Probably an hour's worth of footage sort of thing between Ronaldo and Rashford. But I think they link up, maybe not link up, but they combine a little bit better than what Ronaldo and Greenwood do. And obviously different sides of the pitch, the right and the centre and the left and the centre. But I don't think Greenwood really suits Ronaldo at the moment. It's almost like having a young Ronaldo and an experienced Ronaldo. I don't think they quite match. But Marcus Rashford seems to be on the same wavelength as Ronaldo. Do you see that or just me?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think with Greenwood, I think Solskjaer needs to pull him out of the side a little bit. I'm all for he's young, he's brilliant, he scores goals, and he's been one of our best players on an individual basis. So that I agree with. But I think Greenwood is almost now playing to the detriment of the team. I just think we need to pull him out a little bit just because he's playing very selfish. I think put Sancho, because can I say, I thought Sancho, I know it was a small cameo. That's the best I've seen him look. I know it was a small period, but it was attacking players. He was direct.
He was on the right-hand side.
Yeah. Play him on the right. I'm so keen to see. I want to see Rashford on the left, Ronaldo down the middle, Sancho on the right for Liverpool. I really think that if you give Sancho a good run of games there, you'll really see what he's made of.
Yeah, I think we'll see that. And just before we get into 3-2-1, just in regards to when you were talking about Bruno Adams saying man of the match, wow, De Gea, 2-1 down, makes a double save, which, yeah, I thought when we were going into this, I thought, okay, 3-2 win, finally we can have a 3-2-1 votes without David De Gea. However, when you look back at it, he may be very well a candidate for all 3 points. I think he probably does feature in the points. But just before we move on to 3-2-1, just Cristiano Ronaldo. What else can you say? Sort of thing I touched on at the start of the podcast in terms of why we were so excited when he did sign. But I just want your thoughts on, is there something about the Champions League about him? Because he's scored in all 3 games now, and he's got, okay, the Young Boys wasn't the important goal, but it was the first goal of the game. But he's now scored two winners, 2 late winners. Do you think, okay, he's just good at football, he's going to score goals in big games? Or do you think there is actually something that physically motivates him, mentally motivates him in the Champions League? Like Messi scores the night before and he comes out and he looks a different player. Because when we get into the 3-2-1s, okay, it's a big goal. He's very well in the discussion for 3 points, the way sort of we value that. His overall performance is one of his better performances, if not his best performance for United, in my opinion.
I think it's a few things. I think it's obviously a combination, and it speaks to the man's work ethic, his commitment on the pitch, his levels of fitness, and his regime in terms of keeping himself into top-notch shape. But you hear the term God-given talent used almost lazily at times. Tom, he's just a God-given talent. He's just a man born for the moment, born for the spotlight, and born to shine in it. Like him and Messi just handle pressure at clutch moments time and time again for such a prolonged period. It's just not a fluke. He's obviously, look, when you're a striker, you're the focal point. United are now starting to, what I loved about today, we're starting to actually play to Ronaldo's strengths. I thought when you look at the ball from Shaw, bloody hell, why can't we do this 10 times a game every week? Because if you do that, he'll score 2 or 3 goals every game. He really will. It's a combination of everything. But look, he's the man for the moment, and that's why you sign him.
Yeah, no, look, yeah, completely agree. And yeah, that ball by Shaw was fantastic, and I've been critical of him, but yeah, it just begs the question: just cross the ball in there. Cross it. If we lose the ball, well, we lose the ball in their box. Just get the ball in the box. Ronaldo will make something happen, or if not, falls out to Bruno or Pogba. They make something happen. But we will get in the 3-2-1s, and in your comments, please get your 3-2-1s in there. And if you haven't liked the video, please do. That would be great. And if you are new, it'd be great if you could subscribe. But on 3-2-1s, Larry, look, David De Gea does go into discussion. I think Adam, part of the goalkeepers union, will probably have him there. Ronaldo's performance, there were some good performances. I thought Fred, maybe not by Man United standards, but by Fred's standards, I thought he was quite good. Wan-Bissaka, I thought was lively and sort of contributed to the width we did have on the right-hand side. But then again, Ronaldo, big winning goal. Harry Maguire, an all-important goal. Marcus Rashford looking sort of a dangerous. He looks like we'd need Marcus Rashford fit for Liverpool. I thought he was really dangerous for me, and I maybe not fully deserve him, but there's something about Ronaldo, that winner. That's why we signed him. It was a big moment. We don't win the game without Ronaldo, in my opinion.
I hear. When we do the 3-2-1s, my thought process always is who had the biggest impact on the football match. If that player wasn't there, would we have won the football game? I don't think any other player could have scored the goal Ronaldo did. His aerial ability is phenomenal. I think there's an argument for Bruno, but like you said, Bruno's a weird one in the sense of I can't figure out if he was our worst player or our best player, but he delivers time and time again. I saw he got the official man of the match. I didn't agree with it. I looked at it and I'm like, I didn't feel it. Over the 90 minutes, I didn't feel it. I'd agree with Ronaldo. I was leaning towards Rashford personally because I thought if you're looking over the 90 minutes, I thought Rashford was easily our most dangerous player. But look, clutch moment, clutch goal, wins the game. It's legitimately the difference maker. So Ronaldo for 3 points, I can't argue with it.
Yeah, look for me, and yeah, maybe better performances. And look, the next name off my tongue would have to be David De Gea. And just for the other side of things, in terms of we do look at the all important goal. Okay, we have conceded 2 goals, but at 2-1, they had that double save. I think they even had a chance before that as well. But that goes to 3-1, and that's game over. I can't see us coming back from that. So I do have to put De Gea's name in this. But then we do look at all important. Now, Harry Maguire wasn't fantastic. Neither was Lindelof, but Maguire's got an all important goal. You do look at Fred. Yeah, it was good. But yeah, I don't think points-wise. But would you be leaning to Bruno, De Gea, Rashford? What sort of order of those?
I thought De Gea's save was really good. But in saying that, they were shot straight at the goalkeeper. I think you would expect any goalkeeper.
The second one was a bit trickier because I think he dives a little bit too far. I don't know if it takes a deflection. So his hands sort of come out here and the ball comes back behind him and he has to, it takes a little bit of deflection. But look, yeah, maybe a little bit straight at him, but that's in slow motion. I'm sure in fast motion, in real life speed, they're sort of rocketed at him type thing. But look, at the end of the day, he has conceded 2 goals. He couldn't do anything about the goals.
No.
But get your comments in. I've seen George saying Ronaldo for 3. Rashford to Fred for 1 because he's not getting any other points this year. I think Fred's got a point or 2, but a little bit
I
harsh,
thought
but
Fred was good. I really do. I think if I don't know if he's a candidate for 3-2-1, but I think if you started Pogba where Fred was today, I don't. You thought 2-0 was bad. I guarantee we would have conceded at least one more.
So who would you be leaning to? I have to throw De Gea in there. I could accept De Gea for a point. Would you be putting De Gea as 2 points or someone above him for 2 points?
But how do you leave out Rashford and Bruno? Like, do you win the football match if those two aren't on the pitch? I thought Rashford was so good. I know he missed, like, he should have at least had a double today because there was one opportunity particularly he should have finished, but it would be harsh not to give it. I think Rashford needs to get a point in this. I could settle with Rashford and De Gea. If I need a compromise with you, I could settle for Rashford and De Gea. I think Rashford, I can accept not giving Bruno points. Rashford, I think it would be criminal not to.
See, that's where I'll probably accept that. I say Rashford and De Gea. However, what do we know? The UEFA, and maybe we're better than UEFA, who knows? But the UEFA official man of the match, I just said, was Bruno Fernandes. So you think what's happened there? But I thought Bruno's first half was just so bad. I thought he was shocking. And obviously, he sort of spoke about in his post-match press conference, he spoke about needing to take risk. And when he gets the ball, he tries to find the strikers. And he admitted, sometimes maybe I shouldn't do it as much. But I thought the first half, he was really detrimental in terms of breaking down our attacks. And ultimately, he changes the game with that world-class pass. And we're talking about Ronaldo's one moment is worthy of 3 points for Ronaldo. But in terms of, yes, the other contributions, De Gea and Rashford, all-important goal by Marcus Rashford. And you do have to give De Gea some love in regards to how important these saves have been. So I'll leave it up to you. Last sort of order, De Gea, Rashford, who's 2, who's 1?
Rashford 2, De Gea 1.
All right, so Ronaldo, Rashford, and David De Gea. If you agree with those, leave those in the comments below, or please disagree and let us know who you think. But look, we will have it's Thursday here, maybe Friday or Saturday, probably tomorrow night. Maybe we'll have another beer and a little bit of a Liverpool preview because that's a lot to dissect and sort of a lot of things to sort of run the rule over. But anything more to add on this morning's match?
Viva Ronaldo, Viva Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And look, Tom, I don't know where it ends, but get behind the manager and enjoy it, lads. Like, this is what football is all about. If you don't enjoy today, football's not for you. Bloody hell.
That's it's not only, you're completely right. It's not even football's not for you. It's Man United. It's what Man United's about.
Yeah.
But Sam saying here,
give me that over a 5-0 victory any day long. Seriously, I know it's emotionally not great for our health, and we'll probably be in our graves 10 years earlier than we should do. But that's what you watch football for. That's what you watch Man United for.
Yeah, well, as we alluded to, that's why Ronaldo came back for moments like that. But Sam's saying, don't know if it's been said, but you can see why McFreddy's. Yeah, which you touched on that at the start of the podcast, Sam. But it'll be interesting. Look, we won't preview the Liverpool game now, but just your first thoughts looking a couple of days ahead, Larry. McTominay and Fred. Obviously, Fred picked up a little bit of an injury, so we're not quite sure what's going to happen there. But let's say everyone's fit. So let's say Marcus Rashford's available and Fred's available. Your first instincts going into this is Solskjaer changing anything, or is he keeping the same starting 11? Or
I actually think he'll go 3 at the back.
No, I was calling that for this game, but I can't see.
He'll do it, mate. He'll do it. Against Liverpool in the past, he's gone with Shaw, Maguire, and Lindelof. I could definitely see him doing something similar.
Then do you throw Alex Tellez in there cold at left wing back?
Well, if he's wing back, he can attack. He can actually cross. Maybe he does get the ball to Ronaldo the way we need him to. And I think if you let Shaw defend in a more reserved role. Now, I personally wouldn't be putting Shaw there. But I think to nullify Liverpool, I think playing 3 at the back is the way to do it. You can't put Mo Salah 1-on-1 with Luke Shaw. You'll have him on toast. Seriously, Mo Salah in his form with Luke Shaw in his form at the moment, that's scary. I think you need to put a prospect. You need to make it compact in the middle. Otherwise, Mo Salah will just tear us apart.
Well, it will be interesting, but yeah, we will preview that podcast probably tomorrow night over a beer. That's Friday night, so that's a few days before. I'm not sure when Solskjaer's press conference is, where he might have had it sort of embargoed after this match. But yeah, big game. Unfortunately for us Sydney listeners or Sydney Man United fans, it's a 2:30 a.m. kickoff on a Monday morning, which is tricky. Always Liverpool's always 2:30 on a Monday morning. Obviously Sunday afternoon for England is primetime TV, but not great for us Australian Reds. But thank you everyone in the live chat. George just quickly saying Salah only 1 goal against United. Why are we scared? I think that's one of the things when look. You can't knock Salah. We'll touch on that in the Liverpool podcast, but I back United to deal with Salah. Yes, he's potentially the best player in the world. I just don't rate him that highly. I know that sounds stupid. I know it is stupid, but I'll give you my reasons on the next podcast. But thank you, everyone, for joining in the live chat. Truly appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed your day. As I said, please leave a like on the video if you haven't. And if you are new, it'd be great if you could subscribe. It would be very much appreciated. And Larry, have a good night, and we'll chat to you tomorrow.
Pleasure, mate. See you then.
Cheers, man.